It's a little segment that I like to call the Green Squadron Game Report. So let's just go ahead and get straight into it. Okay, so starting off the week, Blizzard is in... I don't know if they're in more hot water or not, but the SEC is now opening a wide-range investigation into Activision Blizzard and has ordered subpoenas from several high-ranking officers within the company, including Bobby Kotick. I think that's kind of interesting. And yeah, I don't know what to think of this, because on one hand, yeah, there's definitely some things that need to be looked into, but at the same time, with them claiming it's a wide-range investigation, does make me think that they're in there to look for anything that they could possibly ding them for. Just could be, you know, actually some justice trying to be served, or it could be a federal agency just trying to come in and get their piece of the pie, slice of meat, whatever you want to call it. My brain's just not thinking right now. But yeah, so I don't know what to think of that. Could be good, could be irritating. Along the same lines, Blizzard has actually lost one of the executive producers behind Overwatch, and who was actually... thank you, piece of the meat pie. Thank you to Back5. Yeah. But yeah, one of the executive producers behind Overwatch and was involved in Overwatch 2, Choco Sonny, has left Blizzard. The departure is apparently not related to the ongoing lawsuit and investigations. It just seems like he's leaving the company, period. So I don't know what it could mean, but it could mean that, in my opinion, I would see it as signs of people essentially jumping ship, seeing what's happening with Blizzard and seeing that it's possibly going to go down, if not just become a shell of its former self, which is what I think is going to happen. So yeah, I do not blame anyone who decides to just get out now while they still can. So on to other news though. Phantasmophobia, it's a indie little horror game, but from what I understand is widely loved. Celebrates its 1-year anniversary today, or this week, and did so with a major update, and the update includes an offline single-player option for the game. When I saw it, the news article said it was a quote-unquote new mode, but when I read into it a little further, it just says that it's a you can play. So from what I understand, it's like multiplayer. It's a multiplayer horror game, but in this just offers an offline single-player mode, so you don't have to play with other people. So could be interesting if you're into that game. I don't know. It's just kind of interesting. I don't see why you'd want to do that on your own unless you're just trying to get a more interesting experience. So I don't know, or a more terrifying experience, I should say. In other news, a new game is actually coming to PC. Neo: The World Ends With You is coming to PC. It's already been released for all the major consoles, I believe Xbox, PlayStation, and Nintendo Switch. They didn't have a PC release date yet, but it's now been announced that it is coming to PC via the Epic Games Store, and it'll be released on September 28th. Pretty cool. In other news, Pokemon Unite is now available on Android and iOS. It'll have full cross-play and account linking features with the console version of Pokemon Unite. So if you want to play on the go, and for whatever reason you don't have your Switch with you, don't worry, you can just play on your Android or your iOS, and it should be able to link the accounts just fine, and you'll be playing against other players on console as well, if you so choose. I don't know if there's like an option to turn it on or off. I would think there would at least be an option to do that, but I don't know. Still kind of interesting. Always cool to see more cross-play stuff going on, so always glad to see that. In other video game lawsuits, the CEO of Epic Games has announced via Twitter that Apple has told them that they are blacklisted, or at least Fortnite is blacklisted from the iOS store, until the exhaustion of all court appeals, which could be as long as a 5-year process. This is according to his tweet from a couple days ago, yeah. And I kind of understand that, because I mean they are looking to appeal the decision. We spoke about that last week, so I can understand why Apple would want to do that, but yeah, it is what it is. So yeah. And I think this is where we're going to start to get into the Nintendo Direct stuff. So for the Forgotten City, excuse me, a popular mod from, I want to say it was Skyrim, and then was turned into its own game and was released in July of this year, is coming to the Nintendo Switch as a cloud streaming game. And it'll be available on September 23rd. Now, with being cloud streaming means you'll have to have an internet connection and all that stuff. But it's kind of interesting that they are providing that option, and it is supposed to take some of the weight off of the graphics unit that's inside the Switch. So that's actually kind of cool and interesting, and an interesting little workaround to try and get more graphics-heavy games onto the Switch. Now, for me, the only thing that I have to say about that, though, is that when I was looking at screenshots of the Forgotten City, it doesn't look particularly graphics-heavy, unless there's something that I'm missing. Maybe it's a VR game, I don't know, but it does seem kind of interesting that they are choosing that route or that method of releasing the game, when to me, it doesn't seem like a very heavy graphics game. Like, it looked less pretty than, say, Breath of the Wild or Super Mario Odyssey. So I do find it interesting that they're choosing that route, but it's kind of cool to see. And depending on how it turns out, you could see more games coming out that way as well on the Nintendo Switch. So kind of interesting. Disney, they are releasing a new Disney Classic Games collection that is going to include Aladdin, Lion King, and The Jungle Book on November 9th. It's going to be selling for $29.99, if I remember correctly. That's US dollars. They released a version of this collection back in 2019 that just contains Aladdin and The Lion King. So if you already have that version, you will be able to get the upgrade as a DLC bundle, or as a DLC for the bundle, that will then give you access to Aladdin and the new versions of the game, of the other two games. So yeah, and I believe the DLC is going to be like $9.99, so kind of interesting. I know for me, I actually didn't realize that had already been released, but I love Aladdin and the Lion King, two amazing games from the SNES and Sega Genesis days that I didn't realize was actually available. So kind of cool to see those out again, and now they're adding the Jungle Book to the mix, which is actually very cool. So I think that's awesome. Speaking of other retro games that you can now get access to, Nintendo has announced that N64 and Sega Genesis games are coming to the Nintendo Switch Online via a new membership plan. I don't think they've given any details as to what the price is going to be. My guess is it's probably going to be about... Oh gosh, I could see them doing another $20. So it sounds like they're going to do an expansion pass where the initial $20 is going to get you access to online multiplayer and Nintendo Switch, Nintendo Online and Super Nintendo Online, and then you pay another $20 to get the Sega and the N64 stuff. I have mixed feelings on this because I've been waiting for them to do like a virtual console, like what they've done with all their previous consoles before, and with the N64 case, I mean, there's less games that I would want to get overall, and I'd want to get very specific titles like Super Mario 64, GoldenEye, Star Fox 64, and a few others. And I don't know if I necessarily want the entire collection. And then as for the Sega Genesis games, I already have all of those in multiple different collections already. So yeah, I don't know how I really feel about this, because I think it's great to be able to get those N64 games on the Switch, but instead of just being able to pay for each individual one, now you have to buy into this subscription package, which is now more than what we're already paying per year for it. So I don't know. It's an interesting choice from Nintendo. So we'll see how it turns out, and maybe they will eventually add an option for that. Triangle Strategy, a 2D tactics game for the Nintendo Switch from Square Enix, is getting a release date of March 4th, 2022. It looks like it's on the same lines in terms of graphics as Octopath the Traveler. But this is more of a 2D tactics strategy game, which is kind of interesting. So, I don't know. Could be cool. Yeah. And again, another retro game collection coming out, Castlevania Advanced Collection. Was released for Nintendo Switch on September 23rd, which was yesterday. So if you were a fan of the games that were included in there, you should go check that out. That's available now. The initiative is working with Crystal Dynamics on a new Perfect Dark project, which is actually pretty cool. I love Perfect Dark. I grew up with it. Really enjoy 007 GoldenEye, and Perfect Dark was essentially the spiritual successor to that. Very cool game. The second one was kind of weird. It wasn't bad, just weird. So a new Perfect Dark game. And I think this is going to be for Microsoft. I was originally thinking Nintendo Switch, but it's not. It's for Microsoft, so that's kind of cool. Then lastly, Life is Strange, or as I like to call it, Life is Emo. The Remastered Collection has a release date of February 1st, 2022. I believe it's going to collect all three, or not the third one, but, you know, all the stuff with Max and Chloe, because that was, like, front and center on the image. So, yeah, if you're a fan of the series, you get the remastered version coming out pretty soon, so go check it out. And that is going to be your Green Squadron game report for September 24th, 2021. Hey, thanks for checking out that clip from my podcast, Green Squadron TV. If you'd like to watch the full podcast, you can check it out at the link down below in the description. And if you'd like to watch it live, you can follow me at twitch.tv/green_leader87. I stream it there live every Friday night at 9 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. Thanks for watching.